This might be the wokest university in Australia. It is none other than Griffith University on the Gold Coast. One education student summed up their experience bluntly. "I wish I never started my degree here. It's also embarrassing on placements when you see other well-rounded students from other universities. And we have a bunch of woke, coloured hair clowns who can't even wear a simple lanyard correctly or dress appropriately." The extreme leftist university has a global ranking of 267 and is rated as the 16th best in Australia. Its relatively high standing reflects rapid growth in size and research activities. At last count, 45,521 students were attending campuses on the Gold Coast and in Brisbane. Griffith proudly embraces progressive activism.
And we care. We strive to create an equitable and environmentally sustainable society.
A strong focus on social justice and equity, environmental sustainability, and to be a university of influence in the Asia Pacific. All of these things are still the case today.
Griffith has a lot of initiatives in this space for significant events such as Ida Hobbit Day and Wear It Purple. We raise the rainbow flag to show our support.
According to its own vision and values pages, the university prioritises Aboriginal activism, gender, sexual and racial diversity, climate change, and social justice. These values shape hiring policies, leadership roles, research, and academic programs. The first value listed is a commitment to increasing Indigenous staff to 2%. The university has a Deputy Vice-Chancellor for Indigenous, Diversity, and Inclusion to make and enforce woke policies. Griffith took an official stance on the Indigenous Voice to Parliament referendum, openly endorsing the Yes campaign. In its own words, Griffith University expresses its support of an Indigenous voice in the terms set out in the proposed referendum to change the Constitution. For context, the nation overwhelmingly rejected the proposal to divide Australians by race in this referendum. Griffith promoted specific voices, organised pro-voice events, and encouraged staff and students to see the referendum as a matter of social justice rather than legal debate. A law student reported that even in a constitutional law class, opposing views were shut down. When a student raised the role of conservative legal principles in shaping the Australian Constitution, the convener dismissed the discussion, saying, "We are not opening up that conversation here today." Another student, who is part Indigenous, described their experience differently from the university's messaging on inclusion. "I'm disgusted at the anti-Australian, super woke attitudes of the conveners. They completely disregard anybody Australian born or of mixed race. If you're not Indigenous, you will be silenced. Whether you're born in Australia or you emigrated, you will be made to feel as if you're an invader." Griffith sets identity-based hiring targets across the university. The goal is 50% female representation in senior academic and leadership roles by 2025. Equity policies focus on increasing representation for underrepresented groups, while merit-based selection receives little mention. One student reflected on the academic culture. "If you have any opinion other than one that fits their agenda, you get shut down and shamed for it, often even failing you if you don't agree with a woke perspective." Griffith aligns environmental policies with diversity and equity initiatives. Embedding climate activism into research and teaching, the university plans to reach net zero by 2029. We know Griffith isn't the only woke university in Australia, and others might be just as extreme. Macquarie University is one example. If you have experienced wokeism at university, let us know your thoughts in the comments section. A university should challenge students with different perspectives. Students should have the freedom to test arguments, question prevailing views, and explore topics from multiple angles. Education prepares students for the real world, where different opinions exist. Professionals in law, education, and other fields must understand both progressive and conservative perspectives to succeed. Universities exist to develop knowledge and encourage debate. At Griffith, students report that questioning staff positions leads to academic penalties. The uni functions as an activist institution. It enforces Indigenous recognition, diversity quotas, and sustainability as guiding principles rather than subjects for open inquiry. Socrates once said, "Education is the kindling of a flame, not the filling of a vessel." Universities should expose students to a range of perspectives, not dictate what they must believe. If you want to think freely and develop critical thinking skills, Griffith Uni may not be the place for you.
Prior to taking the law, crime and justice subject, my understanding was very little. I feel really proud as a Griffith University student that we can reconcile together and help Indigenous people toward healing.
All Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander art and culture is connected to place. And so, of course, all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander cultural practice is going to be impacted by climate change.
I'm very proud that the university is taking very seriously its part in that healing process. The reconciliation statement was something that we really took to heart. We developed a committee which had a really strong diversity throughout the university, and we consulted from students to senior executive, and we're very, very proud of the final statement.